Before we start, I have a question. Since it's a Christmas vacations coming up, my question is, what place do you want to have your vacation this coming holidays? Do you want to go on a vacation wherein you'll have a very beautiful view of nature, just enjoying, right? Do you want to go to a place wherein you can relax, or probably for the people who just can't get out of the city, will go into another city, right? Or maybe for most of the people that I know, they want to go to the beach. But my question now is this. How about here, in the desert? Do you want to have a vacation and unwind in this kind of a place? Right? Maybe just to visit, yes, it's okay. But for us to stay there for a long time and to relax there, we don't want, and we definitely won't stay there for a long time. And in the Bible, it's the same thing. The Israelites doesn't want to go through the deserts. It is a place that they hate because it's hard to be in the desert. But what if it were God Himself that would lead us through the desert? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's about God leading us through the desert. Right? Are you ready? Okay, so yeah, let's go on. Let's go through the story of the Israelites, okay? The Israelites were getting ready on a journey. The journey that would leave the life that they had for hundreds of years being slaves in Egypt. Now they are on their way from being slaves to being free. From poverty to abundance. From Egypt to the promised land. And it says in Exodus chapter 3 verse 8, God said there, "So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey." And according to this verse, it's simply like a very simple journey. God simply said that He will bring them up out of that land, the land of slavery, the land of Egypt, where they were hungry and treated like slaves. And God said that He would bring them to a good and spacious land. And not only that, it was also a land that is flowing with milk and honey, right? From something that they totally distaste to a place that they were truly looking forward to. And I'm pretty sure that the Israelites did not expect that it would take them 40 long years to go through the desert, to go to the promised land. When they left Egypt, all they had to do was to cross the Sinai Peninsula, less than 200 miles away, and they could do it in a matter of weeks. In a matter of weeks. And the reason for that long route that they had to take is this. It's stated in our main passage for today. Exodus 13:17 to 18, it says there, "When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert road toward the Red Sea." The fact is, the Israelites had a much shorter route that would direct them to the promised land. But God did not lead them on that road, though that was much shorter. Because God knew that the Israelites needed to know God. God knew that the Israelites haven't fully grasped His glory, that the Israelites haven't fully grasped His capability, His goodness, His provision. And that's the reason why God led them through the desert. God wanted the Israelites to know Him, who He truly is. God led them through the desert. Why? For the very simple reason that they may be drawn to the God who brought them out of Egypt. That they may be drawn to the God who brought them out of slavery in the first place. And God was leading them to the promised land. And He was leading them through the desert. And the desert is a place that the Israelites didn't expect that they would go through. They did not expect at all. And a simple point that I hope all of us will remember today. Over and over it happens in the lives of those who truly follow Jesus. And that is, every true follower of Jesus will spend some time in the desert. Alright? For the Israelites, the desert is the place that they did not want to go. We ourselves We'll be led to places wherein we don't want to go. For the Israelites, the desert is a place that is not flowing with milk and honey. For us, our desert is any situation or circumstance when we don't receive, we don't get, we don't acquire, we don't experience the things that we desire to have. The desert is simply a dry and a barren place. And if we take our faith in God seriously, we too will learn something very, very important from being in the desert. If we take our faith in God seriously. A year and a half ago, after graduating from school, God told me to move from Manila to Isabela, where my family's from. God said, go back home, RC. At first, of course, I was really struggling. For most of the students who came from the province and studied here, and you were asked to go back to your province, it was really a struggle for me. And I asked God, Lord, is it really what you want me to do? Because, Lord, it's here in Manila where I got to know you, and it's here in Manila that I will grow. I want to stay. But then it was very clear. The circumstances, the people, the Bible was all pointing to the north. Go back home. Go to Isabela. And after being there for a few weeks, I was really struggling. It's been so hard. And almost every night before I sleep, I tell God, Lord, I can't go on anymore. I just want to have my next visit in Manila again. And it led me to ask God, Lord, will this be my life in the next 2 to 3 years or even for the rest of my life? I miss my life there. I miss my niece. I miss my nephew. I miss my room. I miss CCF St. Francis. I miss the movies there. There are no cinemas here, Lord. So, Lord, can I have my life back there? And you know what? What I felt before was what the Israelites felt when they were in the desert. Because the Israelites, they wanted to go back to Egypt and settle for the life that is provided by the Pharaoh. And they preferred to be slaves, listen, they preferred to be slaves than go through the desert with the Lord. They preferred to settle with the provision of the Pharaoh than settle with the provision of our God and claim the promised land. And that's what I was feeling. I was really thinking of returning to my Egypt. Will I talk to my dad and ask permission na I'll just stay there and yun na lang, wala na ang gagawin dito. But then, someone once said about the Israelites, it took one night to get Israel out of Egypt, but it was taking 40 years to take Egypt out of Israel. And in my case, it only took one day to get out of Manila, but it was taking so long to take Manila out of me.